Previously on Dragon Age.
I am Cassandra Pendergast, Seeker of the Chantry.
Make us save us. We've lost it all. Everything your father and I built.
And just, what are you seeking?
The champion.
Which one?
Wait. Where are we going? We can't just wander aimlessly. We can go to Kirkwall.
Kirkwall? Are you sure that's wise?
Time to start talking, dwarf. They tell me you're good at it.
They will not have you. Not while I breathe.
What do you want to know?
Everything. Start at the beginning.
You soulless bastards!
Carver gave himself to save us.
I don't want a hero. I want my son. How could you let him charge off like that? Your little brother. My little boy.
It used to be we never got visitors to the wilds, but now it seems they arrive in hordes.
Flemeth.
I thought that might interest you.
I offer you this. I will get your group past the horde in exchange for a simple delivery to a place not far out of your way. There is a clan of Dalish elves near the city of Kirkwall. Deliver this amulet to their keeper, Marithari.
If you can't point me to her, tell me everything you know.
Be strong, my love.
You aren't worried I'll just make it up as I go?
Not at all.
We have enough poor of our own in the free marches. We don't need you refugees piling up here like a midden's heap.
I need to get my family into Kirkwall.
I talked to my contacts, and I found some people who might be willing to pay your way into the city. The catch is, you and your sister have to work off the debt. For a year.
Here you go, as requested.
Will you look at that? Tell your uncle we'll make the arrangements. Welcome aboard.
You'll need to hear the whole story. Thus began the champion's first year in Kirkwall. Word arrived from across the sea that the hero of Ferelden had defeated the Blight. But Lothering was destroyed. Kirkwall was the champion's home now. So she remained, paying off her debt, made a name for herself in the underworld. It was a busy year in the city. That's when the Qunari landed. A great storm had caught their ship and left hundreds of warriors stranded in the city, waiting to return home. That's also when the trouble began with the mages. The Templars had become very powerful under Knight Commander Meredith. But, most importantly, that's when I first met the champion.
No! Andraste's tits, human. You know how many people want to hire onto this expedition?
But we heard you're going into the deep roads. Surely you'll need all the help you can...
No! You're too late. Already done. This is a sort of venture that can make a man for life. I'm not about to take any chances hiring random humans.
We've fought and killed Darkspawn. How many of your hired men can say the same?
Get in line, human. Half of Kirkwall wants to be my best friend right now. You're looking for a quick way out of the slums, right? You and every other Ferelden in this dump.
Find another meal ticket.
What are we supposed to do now? We've got nothing to stop the next person who tries to sell us out. This expedition was our last chance.
We've made a name for ourselves this last year. We'll find something.
We have to. We need coin, status, something we can hide behind. As long as we're just refugees, we're no one. Maybe Gamlen knows someone who can talk to Bartram for us.
Our uncle's not exactly the most reliable tool in the shed.
He's all we've got. Make us save us. We might as well ask. Otherwise, I don't know what we'll do.
Hey!
I knew a guy once who could take every coin out of your pockets just by smiling at you. But you don't have the style to work Hightown, let alone the Merchants Guild. You might want to find yourself a new line of work. Off you go. How do you do? Varric Tethras, at your service. I apologize for Bartrand. He wouldn't know an opportunity if it hit him square in the jaw.
But you would.
I would. What my brother doesn't realize is that we need someone like you. He would never admit it either. He's too proud. I, however, am quite practical.
So, of course, remember that it's Varric who's telling the story, so I like the fact that he gave himself a really badass introduction here.
You're part of Bartrand's venture.
That's right. The deep roads wouldn't normally be my thing, but I can't allow the head of our family to go down there alone. So as you might imagine, I have more than a passing interest in this expedition's success.
So it's hinted a lot here. There's a lot of implication. It's not really said explicitly, but the idea is that the champion and Bethany basically have heard about this dwarf's expedition to find a new, some new ruins in the deep roads and basically plunder them. And this is, of course, a chance to make a lot of money. And if the champion is going to protect her sister Bethany from the Templars, they're going to need money and status, and thus, you know, basically bribe the Templars not to cart her away.
What makes you so certain we can help? You know nothing about us.
Oh, on the contrary. You've made quite the name for yourself over the last year. The Coterie has been squeezing smugglers out left and right, and the only group to survive owes it all to you two. The name Hawke is on many lips these days. Not bad for a Ferelden fresh off the boat.
You must have heard of my sister as well, then?
Only a little. She is certainly welcome to come, but I'll leave that up to you.
Frankly, I'd rather you take the credit.
Madam, your secrets are safe with me.
Find out what he's offering. We need a way into this expedition.
You're going awfully far out of your way just to hire another guard.
We don't need another hireling. We need a partner. The truth is, Bartrand's been tearing his beard out trying to fund this on his own, but he can't do it. Invest in the expedition. 50 sovereigns and he can't refuse. Not with me there to vouch for you.
I hope there's more to this. Like how I'm supposed to get that much coin together.
You need to think big. There's only a brief window after a blight when the deep roads won't be crawling with darkspawn. The treasure you find down there could set you and your family up for life.
It won't be easy, but it's a chance. I think we have to take it. Better to work our way into this expedition than sit around waiting to be thrown in the gallows.
We work together, you and I, and before you know it, you'll have all the capital you need. What do you say?
There might be nothing down there except darkspawn and rubble. How can you be sure we'll make a profit?
Well, Bartrand isn't grasping at strings. He's operating on some good information. Some of the deep roads are so old, even the dwarves have forgotten them. We just need to get down there. Then Bartran will lead the way. You and I will be there to handle problems.
Oh, like always.
What makes you so certain you'll be useful to me?
I know everyone in this city worth knowing. I can help you find the jobs you need, and if you don't need me for that, there's always Bianca.
You named your crossbow.
And why not? She's a beauty. Isn't that right, sweetheart?
I have to admit, that is a pretty cool crossbow.
What's to stop you from taking my investment and running?
You'll be traveling with the expedition, and I'll be at your side. If I cross you, you'll be the first one to know, and I'll be the last.
You're asking me to take a lot on faith.
You're asking for a guarantee? I don't know that I can give you one. Look, I know the Templars have been asking questions. How terrible would it be to get out of the city for a while? If this works out, you'll be wealthy enough that the Order won't be able to touch you. You need the coin, and I need your help. We need each other. I can't make it sound better than that.
Fair enough.
You have a deal.
Perfect. Kirkwall's crawling with work. You set aside some coin from every job, and you'll have the money in no time.
Maybe Aveline can find us some work. She's got a position with the city guard now.
We should talk privately when you get the chance. In the Hanged Man, maybe. I'll be there when I'm not with you. Now, let's go see what trouble we can stir up. Keep a hand on your coin, Hawke. There are more cut purses in Hightown than in the rest of the city combined.
Alright. So, this is basically Act 1. There are 3 acts. Each one is characterized by essentially a major quest, a major tool or objective that you need to complete. And for Act 1, that is to get enough money to go on this, to fund this expedition, and thus reap the rewards of whatever is down there. This is our usual journal, as you might expect with these kinds of games, and it basically comes with active quests, completed quests, and then just your general lore statement here with all of these codexes that give you all this background. It's separated into Art of War, which I believe, is basically just telling you about the mechanics of the gameplay and the combat. There's lore about the characters, which of course changes throughout the story as you make decisions. And then there's about the general legend of the world, and places you've been, and creatures you encounter. I'm not planning on necessarily, as I said before, reading all the codexes, but I think I will read them as I kind of stumble upon them in the world. I figure that's a nice kind of middle ground. Because I think if I end up reading the codexes too much, it's really going to hold up the story. This is the what's the area called again? The Merchant's Guild. There we go. This is the Merchant's Guild, I think. Sometimes the labels actually just appear on the mini-map. Actually, let's see. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Merchant's Guild District. You can see some dwarven architecture here. So this is basically where the majority of the dwarves in the city tend to hang out who have any kind of status. There's Bartran himself. Grumpy as always. And basically for this first part, I'm going to focus on gathering every single companion together. Unlike the Dragon Age Origins, where you often would get new companions kind of here and there as you went around the world, here in Dragon Age 2, you get all but one of your possible companions right up front if you want to. Basically, you can quickly do the quests that gather them all into your party so they can become usable. So I'm going to basically focus on those quests first, just so that you guys can get an introduction to all the major characters here. The one character who we will not have until Act 2 is a bonus character, but we will see him here in Act 1 in one scene, or one quest, I should say. So Varric has joined us here. He is also a rogue, so if you are not a rogue, he can pick locks for you, in which case you want to make sure that he gets really high cunning. However, since I'm a rogue and I'm going to go ahead and do all of the lock picking, cunning is not quite as important as it would be. However, dexterity is still something you want to put in, because that, of course, goes into the damage for his crossbow. That means that he is also an archer, so we will be giving him a lot of the same abilities that we have. And unfortunately, that also means that I probably won't necessarily put him in the party a whole lot, just because it tends to double up on the role of the archer. Usually you don't need 2 archers in one party. Whatever you choose as your class and your weapon of choice for the protagonist, that often will kind of dictate what kind of characters don't show up in your party that often, or at least don't show up together. You usually don't have a party of all mages or all rogues or all warriors. But that said, I will try to at least get the various companions together at some point, just because you can hear their banter, which is often pretty well written and fun to listen to. Here we have 2 rather familiar faces. It's Bodan and Sandal. Wonder what they're doing here.
Bodan Fedic, purveyor of goods both common and rare, at your service. And this is my son, Sandal, who is as brilliant an enchanter as you'll ever find. Say hello to the nice human, Sandal.
Hello.
We shall be accompanying your expedition and providing the needed supplies. It's all quite exciting, isn't it?
You aren't worried about venturing into such a dangerous place?
Not with such fine protection. But I digress. Do you wish to peruse my wares, or perhaps make use of Sandal's unique talents?
Enchantment?
Just so.
It's nice to see these 2 again.
I thought all enchanters were mages.
Not at all. The fabled dwarven resistance to magic has allowed enchantment of crafts for countless ages. Granted, most dwarven smiths must work for many, many years to learn the skill, but my boy is a natural, a savant beyond compare.
I like enchantment.
He enjoys his work. What more could one ask?
You 2 don't seem the sort to hire onto this sort of expedition.
My son and I have never played it safe. Never kept to the tried and true roads. In fact, we have just returned from adventures while accompanying the hero of Ferelden, legendary Grey Warden and vanquisher of the Blight.
So you helped to defeat the Blight?
In our small way, perhaps. We did not fight at the Grey Warden's side, of course. The hero of Ferelden is a fine man. After all his accomplishments, may he find even greater success. But surely my past is hardly of interest to the likes of you.
And, of course, this takes place a year later, so I believe that right now, both the original game and Dragon Age Awakening have all been completed. So this time period is pretty much between the end of Dragon Age Awakening and the Dragon Age Witch Hunt. So right now, I believe Warden Vexus has left Vigil's Keep and has resumed his search for Morrigan at this point.
Let's see what you have.
By all means, feel free to peruse my wares whenever you wish.
Alright, so, again, a small but appreciated improvement in the Dragon Age 2 is that you don't always have to talk to the merchants in order to activate their buy-sell screen. Most of the time, there's an item nearby that you just right-click and it brings you right into the trading, which is kind of nice. There's also a button here to sell all the junk items you have. This converts them all to cash. And then it's basically the same idea as the original game where you drag things back and forth to buy and sell. It's always nice to check all of the merchants that you come across, because they will often have items that your companions can use. And it's not just weapons, but also specialty pieces of armor. So it's good to just quickly scroll through and see what they have available. They'll always be separated to weapons, armor, accessories, usable items, which is mostly potions, and just random other things. This is the category where you'll often find specialty items for your companions. But nothing that we can afford right now. We're still pretty poor. Got about 2, maybe 3 silvers to our name. Let's see. So, I think we should... This is the way to Aveline. So I think we'll kind of slowly make our way over there. Let's go ahead and head over to the market, because that's where we can also encounter some other traders. This is the primary city market, so it's mostly human traders here. Although there is one exception just off to the side here.
You don't seem to like your brother very much.
And here I thought it took blood magic to read minds.
I had a twin brother, Carver. He used to nail my braid to the bed while I was sleeping. I never thought I'd miss him this much.
Sorry about your brother. Hey, you want mine? I got a spare.
Alright, so, what does this dwarf named Worthy have for us?
Hawke, long time no see, my friend.
Worthy, when did you get back into town?
Oh, just a month or so ago. Things didn't work out in Orzammar. You aren't still working for Athenril, are you? Your year must be up by now.
I'm looking to become an explorer of a sort.
I heard. Bartrand's hard to take, but his information is usually good.
Hard to take? That's putting it mildly.
I'll tell you what. I still have my old contacts. You need some rune crafting done, I can arrange it for you. Take care, Hawke. Don't get dead.
So a lot of these old friends that Hawke has met over the past year are essentially just a way to show you various tutorials on how to do things around the city. In this case, runes. So here is where you can buy new runes, and then you can take them to Sandal, and he'll enchant them into your weapons and armor. This is very similar to how you make potions and poisons in the game as well, and that is that you find various resources around Kirkwall, and they will then appear here on these screens, and when you have enough of each resource, you can then purchase the rune, the poison, or the potion. And the nice thing is, again, it's the whole idea of Streamline, is that you don't need to keep these resources in your inventory. It's a nice way of keeping things, again, from becoming too cluttered. Instead, you just find them, and then you simply pay gold in order for people to take those resources and turn them into what you want. See if there's anything interesting here. Runes will appear under the other category as well. Again, not much we can afford. And often these various stores will have themes.
I got swords.
This one is Corval's Blades, for example. So you're going to find probably more weapons there than any other type of item.
both.
And this is probably armor of various types.
Of all kinds.
If you hear a storm in the background, that's because today it is raining quite heavily.
Move along.
Alright, let's see. Anywhere else interesting? Alright, yes, we have one more quest marker over here. I believe this is the entry, yes, to the chantry. So let's have a look over here.
Sebastian, stop this madness. The chantry cannot condone revenge, Sebastian.
It is my right, my duty, to show these assassins there is nowhere in the Free Marches to hide.
This is murder.
No. What happened to my family was murder.
Well, let's see what he tried to post up here. So this is the Chanter's board, so again, you can check it to find various smaller side quests, but this is actually a fairly important one in the game. It's called Duty. A grave crime was committed against all free-thinking men and women in the Free Marches. The ruling Vial family in Starkhaven, my family, was brutally murdered, down to the youngest babe in arms. This massacre was carried out by members of the Flint Mercenary Company. I hereby offer a bounty on the head of each Flint Company soldier in the Kirkwall vicinity. Prince Sebastian Vial. So we'll accept that. And this begins a quest which is initially titled the Exiled Prince. And that is the one character who we are seeing here in Act 1 who will become a companion, but not until Act 2. Alright, we have Kirkwall. This is the district known as Hightown. At the height of the Tevinter Imperium slave trade, Kirkwall's elite prospered beyond dreams of avarice. Hightown was built for the wealthiest slavers, its grisly mansions rising atop a great wall of rock that borders, on one side, the waking sea. Lowtown cowered on its other side until Kirkwall's slaves rose to plunder and destroy Hightown's riches. Today, Hightown's prominent buildings are the Keep, home to the ruling Viscount, and the Chantry, home to the Grand Cleric and the city's religious center. Both are converted estates that once housed wealthy magisters, rebuilt and converted after the uprising. Another entry by Jenna TV. Okay. We have the, well, play on words here. Instead of the Red Light District, since this is more of a medieval fantasy, it's the Red Lantern District. So this is the more seedy area of Hightown. Some random loot hidden around here in barrels and chests, as you do in RPGs.
The blooming rose. What do you suppose goes on in there?
Oh, what do you think? Indeed, this is the local brothel. And we will have business at some point in there eventually, so I'll wait until then to explore. But we'll get at least one companion who makes frequent stops in there. Curious, is there anything of note over here? Ah, there is. Usually you can find odd items in little nooks and crannies around the place. Mostly junk. But, of course, you can always sell junk. Okay. So we explored there. Yeah. I'll show you this one more area over here. This is the Hightown Estates. This is where most of the people live in the Hightown district.
Stay out of the shadows. There are 100 times more cut purses here than in Lowtown.
Apparently a high crime area. Although you can see there are guards wandering around. And we'll have a number of quests here as well. But I just want to give you a quick little tour of the Hightown area before we head off to basically the Keep, which is the civilian government center here in Kirkwall.
Taffy? Taffy, here go.
Someone's lost a pet named Taffy, apparently.
To the void with this. I can never remember what Mistress wants.
The policy here in the Free Marchers is no slavery. Same with Ferelden. However, also like in Ferelden, there are various forms of servants, some of which some could argue are pretty close to slaves. But at least legally, there's no slavery around here. And I believe also, as in Ferelden, most servants are in fact elves.
Did you hear what Lord Barry said?
It's pointless talk. Things will never change.
I don't know what they were referring to there. I thought they might elaborate, but they didn't. Here's the Viscount's Keep. Let's see if we can find Aveline. This you'll see this in various sub areas of the city. It's basically just a horn symbol on a pedestal, and whenever you click on one of these, you can change your party members.
Out if you kick that wall one more time.
How much longer do I have to wait?
Up here to the left is where the Viscount's office is. This is the waiting room, I believe.
You're looking well, Sirrah.
Well, thank you. The Lomarin Accords. 50 years. That's how long it took the Imperium to drive out the Qunari occupation, but the rest of northern Thedas was not so lucky. Both divines, white and black, declared exalted marches, and for the only time since the schism of the Chantry they worked together. A century-long siege resulted, with the giant Qunari entrenched in Antiva and Ravain, and all of Thedas throwing armies against them. The war drained the resources of every nation in Thedas, leaving most on the brink of collapse. For the Giants, it did not appear to be the damage to their armada or the loss of their soldiers, but the terrible toll upon the Rivani population that prompted their retreat. When the Third Exalted March had all but massacred the people of Kont-Ar, without even chipping the Qunari occupying force, the Giants finally withdrew. The treaty that put an official end to the Qunari wars was signed on the politically neutral island of Lomarin off the southern coast of Ravain. 150 years after their assault on the mainland began, the Qunari left our shores. They received the northern archipelago in exchange for a cessation of hostilities against all the nations on the Accord. Only Tevinter refused to sign, and so the war continues to rage in the Imperium to the present day. It's worth noting, however, that the Kingdom of Ravain immediately violated the treaty, twice. Once when the humans of northern Ravain, nearly all practitioners of the Qun, and therefore by definition Qunari, refused to leave their homes and go in exile to the islands, and again when the Ravain Chantry and nationalist forces, unable to convert its people back to the worship of the Maker, try to purge by the sword, slaughtering countless unarmed people and burying them in mass graves. It's a fortunate mystery that the leaders in Kunt-Ar did not alert their allies in the Northern Passage, or we'd still be fighting the giants now. And this is from Sister Petrine, a chantry scholar. So, a couple things to note. One, there are in this world, as I believe I mentioned in the first game, there are actually two chantries. This is kind of similar to the schism in Christianity between Catholics and Protestants. So the White Chantry, as it's called, is the larger of the chantries, and they are ruled by the White Divine in Orlais. The Black Chantry exists only within what's left of the Tevinter Imperium, and it's headed by the Black Divine. I believe this official stated source of the schism was that originally the Divine, which is the head of the Chantry, was declared only to be a woman and never to be a mage. But in the Tevinter Imperium, as the magistrates who are mages regained power, the head of they declared that their divine would be both a man and a mage, and so that led to the schism. So it kind of gives you an idea about how much of a threat the Qunari are, that this was the only time that both chantries decided to fight on the same side. Also worthy of note, and this is going to come up again in the story here, that is that the Qunari, the way that the Qunari think and act is very different from how the rest of the nations of Thedas tend to see things. The Qunari are not driven by the general impulses of obtaining wealth and power. So because of that, as was listed here, their main course for establishing peace was not because they were militarily losing the fight. It was because a lot of their civilians, their civilian population and the civilians who were caught in the middle were suffering and dying. And apparently that was unacceptable enough for them to simply to end the hostilities. So, and we'll get several indications of how much the Qunari seem to be an enigma to the rest of the people here, and how often they tend to be misjudged, sometimes one way, sometimes another. We have a quest update for a bottle of Scar 534, so that's the date of whatever this alcoholic beverage is. A rare collaboration between human and elven vintners, I think. It's winemakers. The result is a taste that has been called appropriately tense. Nice. Occasionally requested in the Lowtown Bazaar, although elves rarely do so openly. So, this is one of those side quests. Oh, we did pick it up. Okay, yeah. So we need to bring that to someone who apparently wants that particular beverage. These are listed as side quests, of course, just like in the original game. These are quests that really have no bearing on the story whatsoever. They're just to give you extra rewards in terms of basically gold or items. You have the main plot quests. They're listed here. And we have premium content quests. This is stuff that just comes extra when you buy certain versions of the game. And what isn't listed here but will appear eventually are character quests or companion quests. And those are ones that focus specifically on one of the companion characters. Here we have a standard lock chest. We'll see if we can open that.
I don't think I can do that.
Nope. And here we are. Yes, you need cunning of 10, 20, 30, and 40 to open various types. Right now we can only open what are called simple locks. We cannot yet open standard. Once we have 20 cunning, we can start to open standard locks. Let's see, can I do something with this? This one's called the Enigma of Kirkwall. And I think there are several under this title, called The Enigma of Kirkwall. The Viscount is suspicious, but the bribe was sufficient to gain access to restricted sections of the archives. The money would have been better spent elsewhere, the archives being almost devoid of Imperia-era records. When the slaves revolted, they hunted magisters and burned the city, at least the parts that could be burned. One account says that the streets were littered with piles of scrolls and books set aflame. Is our quest futile? Did the slaves destroy the answer? As Mepharath's armies toppled the Imperium, they sent 3 magisters and their legions here. They never arrived. But why march here of all places? What were they coming here for? This was behind a panel with curious markings, signed the Band of 3. So maybe if we find some of these other markers called the Enigma of Kirkwall, we'll find out what that's all about. Here you can see the silver lock. This means that this is a lock that cannot be picked. In other words, the game makers do not want you to go in there yet.
The office of the Viscount is not open to the public, especially recent arrivals not actually part of the public.
This is the Seneschal. We saw that title before in Dragon Age Awakening, so he's the assistant to the Viscount. And basically the local snotty guy. Not the very likable sort.
Good luck getting in. I've been waiting all day.
See various symbols here on the side of the wall. Anything to do with Kirkwall tends to have this kind of style symbol associated with it.
How much longer do I have to wait?
Now, I believe this leads to the throne room, although the Viscount, I believe, is not considered to be any kind of monarch. So this is not actually considered part of his office. I think this is considered just part of Kirkwall's history.
You're getting mud on my floor.
Don't get mud on her floor. Okay, Chantry hierarchy. So just a little review here. The Divine is the titular head of the Chantry, although since the schism split the Imperial Chantry into its own faction, there are now in fact 2 Divines at any one time. One Divine, informally called the White Divine, is a woman housed in the Grand Cathedral in Val Royale. The other, known as the Black Divine, is a man housed in the Argent Spire in Minrathus. Neither Divine recognizes the existence of the other, and the informal names are considered sacrilegious. No matter the gender, the Divine is addressed as Most Holy or Your Perfection. Beneath the rank of Divine is the Grand Cleric. Each Grand Cleric presides over numerous chantries and represents the highest religious authority for their region. They travel to Val Royale when the College of Clerics convenes, but otherwise remain where they are assigned. All Grand Clerics are addressed as Your Grace. In other words, if you're thinking the parallel to the Catholic Church, the Divine is the Pope, and the Grand Clerics are the Cardinals. Beneath the Grand Cleric is the Mother, or in the Imperial Chantry, the Father. If a mother is in charge of a particular chantry, revered is appended to her title. These are the priests responsible for administering to the spiritual well-being of their flock. A mother or Reverend Mother is addressed as Your Revenants. And we will be seeing several of these ranks, by the way, as we go along. Brothers and sisters form the rank and file of the chantry and consist of 3 main groups: the Affirmed, the Initiates, and the Clerics. Affirmed are the lay brethren of the chantry, those regular folk who have turned to the chantry for succor. Often they are people who have led difficult and irreligious life and have chosen to go into seclusion, or even orphans and similar unfortunates who were raised into the chantry life. The Affirmed take care of the chantry and are in turn afforded a life of quiet contemplation, no questions asked. This is basically the route that Leliana took in the first game. Only those folk who take vows become initiates. These are men and women in training, whether in academic knowledge or the the martial skills of a warrior. All initiates receive an academic education, although only those who seek to become Templars learn how to fight in addition. Clerics are the true academics of the chantry, those men and women who have dedicated themselves to the pursuit of knowledge. They are often found in chantry archives, sages presiding over libraries of books and arcane knowledge. The most senior of these clerics, placed in charge of such archives, are given the title Elder, although such a rank is still beneath that of Mother. All other brothers and sisters are addressed simply as noting their title before their name, such as Brother Genitivi. From a guide for ambassadors from Ravane. Ravane is known as a very non-religious place, so that actually makes sense.